Hi everyone, this is Albert Turcasso, and today I'm going to read the words of a great president, Abraham Lincoln. Now, I would love to tell you that I have memorized these words, but I'm actually going to read it out of the book for now. But I promise to do justice to those words and to elaborate on their meaning. So without further ado, there shall be preserved in this world that form of substance of government, the object of which is to remove the obstacles from the pathway of all, to open the avenues of honorable employment for all, to give to all an unfettered start and a fair chance in the race of life. The book's down, as you can hear. To remove the obstacles to all, so that they can get honorable employment and an unfettered and fair start in the race of life. Ladies and gentlemen, I now ask you to ask yourself, regardless of your political ideology, whether it be Tea Party, Coffee Party, Democratic Party, Republican or Republican Party, the Reform, the Libertarians, the Socialist Party. Let us once again remember those words. A path to honorable employment and an unfettered and fair start in the race of life for all of us that reside in America. Now ask yourself, be you Republican, be you Reformist, be you Independent, be you Democrat, be you Progressive Democrat, Conservative Republican, whatever. What time, date, year, or century in the more than 2 centuries has the United States government or any politician lived up to the very words of Abraham Lincoln? Not even the great Abraham Lincoln lived up to that speech. You might think that I'm bashing the United States. No, not at all. I am saying that we have that right to a fair start in the race of life and honorable employment. But more than even the great Lincoln has said, we have a right to live in an abundant life, where we have no worries about where our next meal is coming from, if we have catastrophic injuries, how we will pay for it. Not one human being around the globe, for that matter, should go bankrupt due to medical emergencies, illnesses, or catastrophes. We have not received what we rightly have been promised, and by the Creator himself, or the Creator, deemed us to have certain inalienable rights and was promised. So are we to live our lives forever not seeing this promise fulfilled? I will say to you, the answer is an abundant no. And yes, you will hear distractions in the back as I am shooting on location. You will hear planes flying overhead. You will hear nature, animals, birds. You will hear who knows what, cars, motorcycles, anything. But I ask you to hear these words, to concentrate on what I am saying. And if you want to know what I am saying, you shall know now. I am saying that promise, those words, by Lincoln and so many leaders of the United States, and for that matter, the globe, those words can be made a reality. But it will take the absolute dedication of one person to start to get that second person, and so on and so forth, until we have thousands, until we have millions, until it becomes so routine that there can be no other choice but to change our nation and indeed our globe, so that all people will live those words that Lincoln has spoken. You will all have access to honorable employment and a fair chance in the race of life. We do it with the determination and willpower of our military veterans. We have to dedicate our lives as they have dedicated their lives to protect this country for more than 234 years. We have to legally, peacefully, mentally change the way we think to fulfill these promises. We cannot rely on government. We have been let down by everyone in government, both parties. We must rely on ourselves individually, as a community, and look to leaders that are willing to say what has not been said. How do we get to everyone having what they need? Well, it is not as easy as just wanting it, as easy as just demanding it. We must therefore find ways for our own self, our own person, to start achieving the goal individually, so that then one can teach others, provide opportunity, provide education, provide motivation, provide training, so that the other people that follow behind you can actually achieve what you have achieved. Now, it may sound like this is idealism. It may sound like a fairy tale. But if John F. Kennedy can make the bold statement that in this decade we will go to the moon in the 1960s, and within that decade we went to the moon. If he can say we can leave the confines of the earth and go to another solar piece of land, if you will, and achieve it, then we can achieve equality for all. How do we start? We start by making college affordable and not have $1 trillion in student default loans or student debt. We make it affordable. But if college is not in your financial future, if it is too far away, too hard to do, we must find other roads to travel. What then do? We look for opportunities everywhere. And some come in ways that you would not imagine. I do not give you these words without also giving you the opportunity to improve yourself. Yes, I could do this speech, and some of you would agree with me, others would turn me off. But I want every American to live those words. But I do not just want honorable employment for all Americans. I want financial independence for all Americans. And I am not going to just give you a speech, whether it is elegant or if it's a rough riding speech with many mistakes. It does not matter how beautiful the speech. The words of Abraham Lincoln, the words of some of our former presidents have been elegant, have been inspirational, have been so inspirational it caused us to get out of our seats and make changes. But none of us have achieved that dream on a level that can help the entire nation. Government has not helped. Oh, you'll hear that they have, and they have done a lot for survival, but at such a low survival, not survival, but a low standard of living, that survival feels more like a prison. There are millions of people, only income they have may be a Social Security check, a disability check, a welfare check. And there are even those who would condemn them and call them freeloaders. Let me be the first to tell you, no one who is on welfare, who is on Social Security or any government subsidy, no one looks at this and that as a free ride. Your level of income is abundantly low. Many times you go without food, you go without medical care, you go without pleasure, you go without hope. You don't need me to be telling you this. Look at the crime rate. Look at unemployment. So, with all these things, I say to you, it is time for action to make the start, to make the great change. And we cannot do it all alone. But if we do it one human being at a time and pass it on to others, we will make the greatest change in the history of the planet. With all that, you might think, okay, what are you giving us? What are you doing to change your life? Now, I am not here to what's the word I'm looking for? To deceive you. I am here to tell you there are ways to improve your life. Whether you can afford college, you can afford training at a trade school, and as such, I am going to ask something very vital of you. I am going to ask you to go to a website, www.forsavingcash.com. And there are going to be others and people who are going to say, he attempted to do this speech only to promote his business. They would be wrong. While it is true, I have given you the website to the new opportunity that I am involved in. I have given you this so that you can learn about the possibilities of something that could improve your life as a customer, that can take away stress from your life and ensure safety. And in addition to all of that, if you feel that you are qualified, if you believe that you want to take a chance, you can then decide to become a partner of this business. What this business will do for you is provide a degree of training. And excellent mentorship. And what do I want out of this? I want to start living the words of Abraham Lincoln, the words of so many presidents, the words of so many great leaders, even the words of Martin Luther King. Many people do not know this, but had Martin Luther King lived, he was going to start an anti-poverty campaign. I do not recall the name of it, but he was going to work to end poverty for all races, not just black, not just people of color, but all. I am doing my part to see that his dream lives on, to see the words of Abraham Lincoln become a reality. Now, do I believe this business to be the greatest business of all time? I honestly cannot say that, nor can I say it is not. A business, a service, a school, a university, or anything in life depends on you being able to use it, being able to learn from it, being able to prosper. For some, this will be the greatest business on earth if they join. For others, it will be a so-so business. For others, it will be a good business. But you must take the time, and you must remember the words of Abraham Lincoln: honorable employment and a fair chance in the race of life. I want you to work to change your life. If you're making $20,000 in your life in this year, I want you to do everything you can to increase that money, that amount, to no less than $40,000. That's right, an increase of $20,000. No less. I want you to get the education. I want you to have the dedication. And I want you to believe. We live in one of the greatest nations throughout history, even with all the disappointments, all the deception. We still live in one of the greatest nations on earth. And I say to you, you are capable of achieving greatness. Sure, you may be working a 9-to-5 job or a fast food job. You may not have any prospects of going to college, or if you do, you may have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 of debt when you get out. So your inspiration and motivation and hope and morale is so far down that it would take a crane to lift it up. But I say to you, doing something as simple as going to that website may be the change that you could not even imagine. Now, I can personally attest to the fact that the gentleman who is my sponsor and partner has asked me and told me what I could do to actually, he didn't ask me, but he told me and taught me what I can do to be successful. One of the reasons I am doing videos is because this will be one of the avenues of success. But we must read this one more time. When I ask you to go to that website, I ask not for me to become a millionaire. That is not my motivation. I ask you to go to this website so that it can ease stress in your life and potentially put you on a path to financial independence. And if you start and succeed, let me change that. When you start, when you succeed, you will no longer have to worry about 9-to-5 jobs. You will be able to do this job wherever you are on earth, as long as you have Wi-Fi and a wireless device such as a laptop, a cell phone, a computer, what have you. You will be set free from the 9-to-5 grind, this dehumanizing ways of life. But let's go further, no further than the words of Abraham Lincoln once more. There shall be preserved in this world that form of substance of government, the object of which is to remove the obstacles from the pathway of all, to open the avenues of honorable employment for all, to give to all an unfettered start and a fair chance in the race of life. You may not have had a fair chance and an unfettered start. You may be in your 50s, your 60s, your 80s. It is not too late. We can make this dream a reality. These words ring true throughout the land, one human being at a time. I now call upon you to believe in the words of these presidents and to make them a reality. To be a patriotic American and to make them a reality. To be a patriotic person from whichever land you live in and make them a reality. And it may not be the path of joining this business, but whatever path it is, believe in yourself. Contribute to people learning. Once you have your success, teach others. Even while you are learning, teach what you have already learned. I ask you to help make these words a living, breathing document, a living, breathing reality. I know that you can achieve greatness. I know that our country has done so throughout 235 years or more. We have had great presidents. We have had great speakers. Now it is time to show your greatness. And it starts by you believing. I have said what I am going to say. I am now going to leave you. So before I do, I will ask you one more time, www.4savingcash.com. I only ask you to look at the website, and that is all. But I ask you to believe in yourself and never to waver on that belief. Thank you and good night.